Are you feeling lost in your 30s and unsure about your next steps? Stay tuned to learn how to navigate this transformative phase of life. Welcome to Cheap Talk. So we're diving into this fascinating idea of what happens after 30. There's this misconception that it's all downhill from there, right?
Totally. Like you hit 30 and suddenly you're over the hill collecting dust.
Exactly. But this piece we're looking at, it flips that whole narrative on its head. It's like, yeah, your 20s might be for figuring things out, but your 30s, that's where the real magic happens.
Ooh, I like magic. So what kind of magic are we talking about here?
Well, they talk to a bunch of people, and the stories are amazing. Career changes, going back to school, finally leaving that job you hate. Like one person, Cynthia, completely reinvented herself, left her old career, went abroad, got married, started a business, even got divorced. It sounds intense, but she described it as a rebirth.
Wow, a rebirth. It sounds like your 30s can be a pretty tumultuous time.
It can be, but in a good way, Like shaking things up and finding what truly resonates with you. It's like that saying, sometimes you have to break down to break through.
I get it. So it's less about a midlife crisis and more about a midlife awakening?
Yes. It's not just about external changes either, it's about internal shifts too. People talked about feeling more emotionally stable, more clear-headed.
That makes sense. You've had more life experience to draw on, right? You've learned from your mistakes and figured out what truly matters.
Right. You're not as reactive, more intentional with your choices. Like another person they interviewed, she was in a really unhappy marriage, and at 29, she finally ended it. She said 30-something her was way better than her 20-something self, like bye-bye pay cage.
Oh, that's interesting. It takes guts to make a big change like that, especially when you're approaching 30.
Definitely. And this article emphasizes it's like having a second 18. It's also a great time to learn. We often think about kids and their quick learning, but adults in their 30s, they have this crystallized intelligence that allows them to connect what they learn to their life experiences.
So it's, like you said, it's not a decline, it's an evolution. You get wiser.
Exactly. And hey, if you're enjoying this conversation about embracing your 30s and finding your true path, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We've got more great discussions coming up on Cheap Talk.
And while you're at it, give us a like and tell us what resonated with you most in the comments. We love hearing your thoughts. It's so empowering to hear these stories, isn't it? It makes you realize that 30 isn't a finish line, it's a launchy pad. Like another example in the article, one decided to go to New Zealand at 30, started over completely, and another one went back to study psychology in their 30s.
Almost like society tells us we're supposed to have it all figured out by 30, right? But these stories show that's just not true. It's like your 30s are when you can really start to fine-tune things. Yeah?
Totally. It's like you've got this foundation of experience, and now you can build something amazing on top of it, like going to New Zealand, starting over completely. That takes guts. It reminds me of that study, the one about work motivation changing as we age.
Oh, yeah?
Hunter's work?
Hmm.
Yeah, that's the one. It talks about how our priorities shift and we might find new sources of motivation in our work. So it's not just about climbing the corporate ladder anymore. It's about finding something meaningful, something that resonates with us?
Right. Like that person who went back to school for psychology, maybe in her 20s, she felt pressure to pursue a practical career, but in her 30s, she realized her true passion was helping others. It's like she gained this crystallized intelligence, like you said before. She is connecting her life experience with this new knowledge. It's almost like she's like operating on a whole different level.
Exactly. And I love how another example highlighted the increased emotional stability that often comes with age.
Ooh, that's such a good point. I remember reading a study about the neural basis for that. It actually showed how the brain changes as we get older, leading to better emotional regulation. Williams et al., I think.
Something about the mellow years. Yeah, less drama, more peace. Like in your 20s, every little thing feels like the end of the world, but in your 30s, you're like, okay, I can handle this. Less reactive, like you said earlier. Remember Cynthia? Divorce, new business, new country. She sounds like a rock star.
For real, and honestly, that resonates with me so much. The 20s are for exploring and experimenting, maybe making a few ahem questionable choices, but the 30s? That's when you start to own your story. Hey listeners, if you're finding this as insightful as we are, don't forget to subscribe. We love digging into these topics on Cheap Talk.
And if you've reinvented yourself in your 30s, we'd love to hear about it. Share your stories in the comments below. Let's create a community of people embracing change and defying expectations. Remember Pedro Adele's study, How Aging Impacts Personality and Emotions? I think these stories exemplify that. They show that 30s can be a period of growth and positive transformation, like a midlife awakening, right?
So we were talking about this whole over the gill narrative around turning 30, right? And how this piece really challenges that. Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's not about decline, it's more like hitting your stride. Like, that idea of a midlife awakening, not a crisis.
Totally. And it really highlighted how the 30s can be a time of like serious reinvention, career changes, new relationships, going back to school. They covered it all. Remember Cynthia? New country, new business, divorce. Talk about a shakeup.
Oh, for sure. It takes guts to do that, right? To just upend your life like that. It speaks to that, what was it? That crystallized intelligence you mentioned earlier, that ability to connect life experience with new learning.
Yeah, you're not just learning facts, you're integrating them into like the wisdom you've already gained. You're operating on a whole new level, making more informed choices, you know? And emotionally, it's like you're so much more stable, less likely to sweat the small stuff. Remember that study, Williams et al., about the neural basis of emotional regulation in the brain?
Oh, yeah, the mellow years. Less drama, more inner peace. And it makes sense, right? In your 20s, everything feels so huge and dramatic. But with age, you develop this resilience, this I can handle this attitude.
Right. And that opens up space for pursuing your passions, like that woman who went back to school for psychology. Maybe in her 20s it felt too risky, but in her 30s she was like, this is what I'm meant to do. It's like unlocking a new level, almost like leveling up in a video game.
I love that analogy. And it's not just about career, right? It's about all aspects of life. Relationships, personal growth, everything. Like going to New Zealand and starting over, that's huge.
Totally. It's like society tells us we have to have it all figured out by 30, but these stories show the opposite is true. Your 30s are when you really start to fine tune things, you know? You get to build on the foundation you've laid in your 20s. It's like finally understanding yourself and what you truly want. And hey, if you're enjoying this conversation about embracing your 30s and all its possibilities, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We've got more insightful discussions coming up right here on Cheap Talk.
Absolutely. And if you have a story about reinventing yourself, share it in the comments. We want to hear all about it. Your 30s are just the beginning. It's like that Chinese saying this article mentioned, OU, which translates to accumulating power or storing energy, I think, right? You are essentially preparing for an even greater leap forward. So inspiring. Thanks for tuning in to Cheap Talk.